how I feel when only person who can stop you is the man in the mirror. When you look down at your wrists and you see money. When you look at your shoes and you see money. When that scarf on your neck means money.
This is Zip Squad, bitch.
Burberry scars, shrimp and Perry on. Living like a comet, moving amongst the stars. $100,000 sports cars, silk massage, menage a trois. Yes, I've been a boss. Burberry scars, shrimp and Perry on. Living like a comet, moving amongst the stars. $100,000 sports cars, silk massage, menage a trois.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show with the best Instagram handle on the entire Bloodline Network. And I'm going to say it, which is at top_rope_wrestling_talk. Welcome back to Top Rope Wrestling Talk. And most important,
Welcome to the party, pal!
Yeah.
and unfortunately, Brucey couldn't be with us again. He's still tending to some personal matters, and we wish him the best. We can't wait to get you back, high class. Keep our fingers crossed for next week. But for now, it's just me. Yeah, me, not DDP. But the first champ in Bloodline history. I am your friendly neighborhood Sycho, your lunatic, the one and only notorious D.O.M. We even had a little ECW in our wrestling this week. I can't wait to talk about that. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Because part of this dynamic duo just so happens to be the first lady of Top Rope Wrestling Talk. She is the whole ass vibe. I feel like that's foreshadowing too, but later. The ninth wonder of the podcasting world, because we don't treat her like a woman. And I try and try and try my damnedest not to treat her like a man.
It's for effort, buddy.
I know, I try. She's the incomparable, the incredible Latina Heat herself, Grandma Wendy!
Viva la raza! If you're not cheating, you're not trying. We lie, we cheat, we steal. We lie, we cheat, we steal. Mamacita, we...
Hey. That's a good song, man.
Still dance. Such a great song.
A little shimmy.
Can we play it again? I want a salsa. No, I'm like, I'm kidding. So we got a lot of fun stuff planned for you this evening, folks. But first, we're gonna get into a wee bit of a serious topic. We got to address the elephant that showed up in the room this week, and that is Vince McMahon.
Oof.
We
my guy.
We learned this week that not only as my wife goes running by, hi baby. Not only does Vince McMahon need spinal surgery, which ouch, that would be enough to put that awkward ass look on his face. But there's more. There's more, because according to ESPN, federal law enforcement agents executed a warrant and served a federal grand jury subpoena to WWE, to Vince McMahon. And obviously this is over all of the NDAs and the Johnny Laryngitis and all of that.
All of that.
So let's just get it out there, Grandma. Give me your feelings on this whole situation, and do you see, from your legal expertise, do you see Vince skating on this one?
I'm not surprised. I'm gonna start from there. As I said in the chat, it was just a matter of time, ticking away, waiting for it. And for every action, there is a consequence. Do I see him skating by? I see him getting in trouble. I don't see him doing any prison time though. He might have to pay some sort of fine or something, but that's about it. I don't see it going beyond that though. I
Yeah,
mean, it is SEC related, Securities and Exchange Commission. It's not like they're criminally indicting him, so it's a civil thing. It'll be
yeah,
some money. Is it going to be a pretty penny? Fuck yes, it is.
yeah. I hear you on that. I mean, could I see him going to some sort of like white collar golf resort type place like Martha Stewart did back in the day? Maybe, maybe. But I gotta be honest, this whole situation just from the very beginning of it disgusts the living fuck out of me. The reports from the beginning disgusted me. The fact that he was on TV the following week disgusted the shit out of me. The fact that he came back disgusted me to no fucking end. Because if you recall, and I think we touched on this a little bit when Ivy came on and joined us, and we were just chit chatting. Ric Flair got into a little bit of heat for the Dark Side of the Ring episode where he kind of rubbed up against a woman that didn't want it on an airplane. And that was bad. That was appalling. But in comparison, when you know the detail, when you know that Vince was, kind of like using these girls and then passing them off to people power to do God knows what in a raspy voice.
Mhm.
I'm gonna die from cringe just saying it. Like that makes Nature Boy look like Mr. Rogers.
Oh,
So I can only hope he doesn't skate on this. But if you look at Vince McMahon's history, the dude is Teflon. I mean, he got involved with Jimmy Snuka. He skated. They had all the steroid trials and the drug trials where he was providing narcotics to his locker room.
skated
Right
on
off the
through.
hook. All the reports of concussions and not being dealt with properly in his line of work after guys like Benoit, guys like Chris Nowitzki, it all either suffered or died from and had CTE at a young age, skated right off of that shit too.
Mhm.
So it would not surprise me in the slightest if he just walks out and they go, okay, hi, Vince. Leave.
Most likely what's going to happen. Like I said, worst case scenario, he'll probably just have to pay some fees and fines, but that's about it.
Yeah. I mean, it's a dark cloud that was kind of looming over what was a pretty awesome week of wrestling, and we had to get it out of there. So now we're going to jump topics. I know it's a SummerSlam special, but we're going to jump topics. So we're going to get into something that I call the markout moments of the week. And if you watch us, you know that my wife and Grandma Wendy are relatively large fans of a woman named Hikaru Shida.
Love me some Sheeta. Oh my goodness.
And what you know, if Wednesday on Dynamite, she don't get into a war with Tony Storm and walk out two-time AEW Women's Champion. Again, I might take the first stab at the next topic, but this is your markout moment, Wendy. Please, for yourself, for my wife, gush about Sheeta's victory.
I mean, honestly, like, I'm not gonna lie. I was excited to see the match. I was, like, hell yeah, this is gonna be a great match. But I honestly did not think she was gonna win. I was like, she's gonna have a great match because it's Sheeta, it's Tony Storm. They're both freaking amazing. It's gonna be a great match. Will there be Disney villain chicanery? Yes.
Of
Will it
course.
take away from the match, in my opinion, just a little bit? But that being said, it was a fantastic overall match. And freaking Sheeta walking out with the title, even more incredible, unexpectedly amazing. And then she ugly
Absolutely.
cried. Oh my god, I loved her for it. I was like,
Oh,
I'm there with you, sister. Ugly crying with you, because it's a
so was
lot.
Kathy. So was Kathy,
Yeah.
no lie. Because we were watching Dynamite a little late because she needed my help getting little Sycho down to bed. And we got to the main event, which I was so stoked this was the main event of
Yeah.
a pretty
Oh,
good
yeah.
show. But this being the main event felt great. And as they're getting ready to introduce people, Kathy looks at me and says, she just got no chance, does she? And I'm like, well, if the Disney villains don't come out behind her, she's got a chance. If they all show up, she's totally screwed.
Oh,
and wouldn't you know, here comes Tony with Ruby and Sriracha, the whole nine.
The whole, all.
And so immediately Kathy goes, oh, there's no hope. I'm like, yeah, you never know, but no, there isn't.
No, there's none.
And then there's that moment where Ruby distracts the referee and Tony grabs the paint, sprays Sheeta in the face, and hits her with the Storm Zero. And I'm like, oh, that's it. It's over.
There it is.
There it is. Apparently that was our exact reaction to that moment. Just, oh, there it is. It's over.
There it is.
And then Sheeta's spray painted face and all kicks out at 2. I'm like, what?
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden she gets a quick roll up and she stacks her and the ref starts counting. I'm like, no. And he hits 3. What? And as soon as he hit 3, my wife, Kathy, shoots off this couch like a fucking rocket.
Yes. Oh
and
my
she
God.
She was exhausted and immediately she's alive again. She's just, fuck yeah. Holy Sheeta. Let's fucking go. And I'm like,
I was in legit awe. I was like, wait, Kate? Wait, did that really just happen right now? Like, but not in a bad way, in a holy shit, what kind of way? Like, I was genuinely surprised.
Like, don't get me wrong. I know I sit here and I talk about the AEW women's division and I bash it at times for the way they use it, or maybe they need 2 matches, or maybe they need to do this. But at the same time, I will give them credit. This match right here in the main event, the way it went down, everything, this was a beautiful example of how you should be using the women's division. If you're going to give us one match, give us one amazing match like this, and not like Tony Storm, not Britt Baker wrecking some hometown schmuck in 22 seconds.
Yeah.
And there's your women's presence. If you're going to do anything, give us this. Because
give us something worthwhile. Absolutely.
Right. So I was so excited about this. This was great. This was more of your moment and Kathy's moment, but it hooked me too, and I had to bring it up. And the next mark out moment of the week is one that's near and dear to my Bingo Hall kid heart. Because as we all know, on Dynamite last week, Jack Perry was talking shit about ECW. Jerry Lynn came out. Jerry Lynn got in his face and they were talking about Jerry Lynn fighting. And I was saying it then. I was like, there is no chance in hell Jerry fights this guy. Because between years of ECW and the original X Division, because let's remember, Jerry was the first X Division champ.
Yes.
His neck, that man's neck is held together with toothpicks. There is no way he's getting in a ring. None.
Toothpick and bubble gum, man. Like, it's just barely hanging on.
I would sooner see Taz in his gear walking back out to fight Jack Perry than fucking Jerry Lynn right now. And it turns out I was right. And he had brought an ECW alumni with him to replace him. And good Lord, if that ECW alumni wasn't the whole fucking show! Mr. Wednesday Night, Rob Van Dam. Oh, I think I brought this up when they had that match with Jericho Cole and Sabu was coming in. And I was like, oh, we get RVD. And I don't know if it was you or Bruce or both say like, oh, he doesn't need to be there. There's no reason. And I was like, fuck you. There's plenty of reasons. Wednesday proved it. It was amazing. He looked so good. He damn near kicked Jungle Boy. I'm sorry, Jack Perry's head off. I gotta get used to that. He's a new person now that he's touched Anna Jay's boobs. I got to get used to that. He looked great. And you know what was the best part? Actually hearing him come down the ramp to Pantera.
Yeah, that was pretty awesome.
Do you know how many times I sat in the ECW arena and heard that song pirated in, by the way, as he came down with the World TV title and the World Tag Team Championships and Fonzie blowing the fucking whistle and everything. Oh my God, that brought me back.
Great? You know what's great? It wasn't pirated in this time. Tony actually sprung for it.
Tony wrote
'Cause
the
he
check
could.
this time. We can
Tony
play it
was
all
like,
we
"Well,
want.
thank you."
Oh, it just felt right. Because as soon as Jerry said, "I've got somebody, I've got a fellow ECW alum in mind, and he still wrestles," and I was like, "No," and then I heard. Dun, 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 dun,
Yep.
dun, dun. I was like, "Oh!"
I guess
Ah!
at the risk of sounding like I'm gonna backpedal, I guess in this instance, it makes sense to bring RVD. Um, if you're gonna bring an alum, an ECW alum, it makes sense to have it be him. Um, with the storyline of Jack Perry being like, I could take on anybody from ECW. Like if it's gonna be anybody, it's gonna be him. Like he's still wrestling, he's still in pretty decent shape. He rubs himself down with his CPD lotions and oils, and he
I
imbibes a
mean,
little
God,
bit in it, so he's holding together well enough.
right. I just want to say to the people watching this, if you're looking at the photo right now and you didn't see Dynamite, this is not a stock photo, boys and girls. This is not like
No,
something
this is
from the
from
ad. This is from Wednesday night. Okay. He still looks amazing. I wish I was in that kind of shape. I'm younger than this motherfucker.
I met him. I met him at a sexpo. He was in pretty good shape.
Right? I'm so jealous of you for that. I should have gone to that.
It was so fucking weird. No, don't be jealous. That shit was fucking weird.
I'm sure it was, but you got to meet RVD. Oh, and I'm so excited for this. I know they're talking about doing this at Dynamite. I almost wish they would save it for All In, because if you want a big internationally known name, who is better than Mr. Pay-Per-View for internationally known? He's wrestled in that country on pay-per-view.
Yeah, true.
He was on the same plane ride I was talking about with Flair earlier. See,
This is true. He was on that plane ride. He was on the plane ride from hell.
He was. Sadly, he was, because he had fought at a pay-per-view in England.
It all comes full circle.
I would love for this to carry on to All In. I think the fans over there would love it. I'm sure AEW would love it because it's probably going to get them more buys. So maybe we get some way. We got to see. We still got time. We got to see. To stretch this out, like we don't get a finish and then they run it back at All In or something. But either
That
way,
would be interesting to see.
Either way,
have they? Let me ask a random question. Have they named any more matches for All In, or do we only have MJF versus Adam Cole? Are we
that is it.
We're still blank slate. That's the only one. Okay.
One. They announced one. And I was gonna talk about that too, but I figured that would also be Brucey's mark out moment. And I want to try to save the big discussion for that for
we'll put
next
a pin.
week
We'll circle
when
back.
he returns. So we're gonna put a pin in that. Don't get me wrong. We know we'd like to, but we wanna be a whole ass death triangle before we do it.
Yes.
These are what I figured were our mark out moments this week.
Oh, yeah.
Especially, and I know they're from AEW, but considering the circumstances, who fucking cares? She'd have won a title and Rob Van Dam showed up. Right now, Grandma and I are figurative pigs of shit. Okay.
I'm happier than that.
I'm happier than that, to be honest. I was just trying to come up with something. It was a very good episode of Dynamite. The hardcore match was great. We're gonna get a parking lot brawl. That was all awesome. But this show isn't really about AEW, y'all. It just
Not
it just
entirely. Not entirely.
It just is. The focus of this show is on the upcoming SummerSlam on Saturday. I'm gonna call it pay-per-view. If you call it PLE, fine. Just don't fucking correct me, okay?
I'm of the pay-per-view generation. I'm old like that.
We're all from the pay-per-view generation. Let's be totally
Let's
real.
be real.
Let's break it hundo P, son. Let's do that.
Hundo.
And I will give Grandma the opportunity to predict the card, which I have to pull up, which I'm about to do. But before we go into all that, I think it was SummerSlam last year, and our good buddy Brian Cook, you see him in every live chat, you see him in our group, Top Rope Wrestling Talk on Facebook, Search for it, find it, invite yourself, have fun with fellow wrestling fans. It's where all of this popped off to begin with. But he had asked us what we would consider our top 5 SummerSlams of all time. And he gave us the option matches or pay-per-views. So taking that to heart, I actually went back and I started looking through some of the matches that I loved at SummerSlam, and I started thinking about it. I spent almost a year, Brian, because I love you, thinking about this in my spare time. I came up with the Sycho's top 5 favorite SummerSlams. And these are not going to be the greatest of all time. I have my reasons for it. They're just
I'll be
my
honest,
favorites.
I interpret it differently. I went with main events because it was easier, and my memory is not the best. And there was a period of time in like the late 90s, early to mid 2000s where I kind of stopped watching wrestling. I did the Margot Robbie. I kind of stopped watching, for a while.
Oh,
and
I
then
know.
I came back to it, and I love John Cena and Undertaker, like Margot Robbie. Unlike Margot Robbie, though, the guy I was with did not have a cardboard cutout of John Cena. So,
Oh,
I'm
well,
sorry,
that's just
John.
pathetic. I'm
sorry,
glad you
John.
left that guy then. So.
No, actually,
That was well, no, you should have stayed with him.
we did not have a cardboard cutout of John Cena.
Well, it could have been worse. You could have had a cardboard cutout of Jay White.
I should make up for it. I should just buy one.
But
we're getting a cardboard cutout of John Cena.
We're gonna get Wendy's main events, or we're gonna get my top 5 SummerSlams. So
I only have 4 though. I'll be honest. I only have 4 because the memory ain't right, and it's been a hot minute. So.
You know why she only has 4? Because she's grandma. That's why. There's your reason.
Because I got shit memory like an old lady.
Exactly. So I'll give you my top 5 favorite SummerSlams first.
Let's talk it out. Let's do it.
Starting with number 5, this one is near and dear to my heart for some personal reasons, and that is SummerSlam 1990. Yeah, baby, the heat returned. Now, if you look up and down the card, it had some great matches too. It had some stinkers, but it had some great matches. Dusty versus the Macho King. Yeah, Mr. Perfect taking on the Texas Tornado for the Intercontinental title. Rick Rude and the Ultimate Warrior in a steel cage for the WWE title. All of them, the card itself is one thing. The reason I put it in my top 5 is because when I was a little psycho, damn near my son's age, I had a birthday coming up. And when my mom couldn't think of anything else to do, she would call the Spectrum looking for the next WWE event. And she found out that the next WWE event coming to Philadelphia was SummerSlam 90. So she got us tickets. Front row tickets. Like 3.
That is awesome.
Like three rows deep in the front row. And what?
Oh, bless her.
And I had a ball. The action was great, but I also learned that if I go with my mom, I should never, ever, ever sit in the front row, because there was a match, and I think it might have been something where something popped off with Earthquake and Hulk Hogan, and Hulk got beat up and squashed. Literally, like Earthquake dropped his ass on Hulk Hogan, and he's a 400-pound dude. Well, people in the balcony behind us they got a little mad. They got
just a little bit.
And they started throwing their beers. Unfortunately, throwing their beers didn't quite make it to the ring.
No, especially if you're that far back, it's not going to go all the way.
Right. But one of them did manage to land on my mother's head.
No.
Yes. And my mother, being the OG psycho of the family, literally took off for the balcony and went after the dude that threw the beer.
Of course you would.
So now we're leading into the double main events at this point, and my mother is having a dark match with a biker. Not just any dude, like tattooed Bam Bam Bigelow looking leather vest wearing biker. And may I add, and I wish my friend Chris were still alive because he could verify this, She was winning. Okay?
Doesn't surprise me.
She was fucking winning. And when security came and broke it up, thankfully, they kicked him out and they let her go back to her seat, or me and my best friend were going to miss the double main event altogether.
That just wouldn't have been right. That would have been hella wrong.
It wasn't just the card for this one. It was all the stuff that went down in the crowd that made me put this at number 5. It had to be somewhere, so it was number 5. Number 4 is a little easier because it was definitely a spectacle, definitely something from my youth that I enjoyed. A few years later, SummerSlam 92, from ironically Wembley Stadium.
Ironically, speaking of ironically, that was one of the main events that I vaguely recall.
And
it was just good. It was just good.
I know when you look up and down the card, it had some good matches. There are people that review this and say that the show was sponsored by cocaine, and you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Not at all. Not at all.
But there was so much to this particular event that it was hard to leave out of my top 5.
Yes.
I mean, even before you got to the main event, there was some amazing freaking matches. The Undertaker, for instance, and I think, oh God, I gotta look it up. I'm totally brain farting. But the Undertaker, the Ultimate Warrior and Randy Savage. He had the Undertaker defeat Kamala, which would later lead to a casket match.
Oh, that's right. It did lead to that.
There was some good stuff on this. Yes, the card was definitely sponsored by cocaine, but it was extremely enjoyable, especially for, someone who barely hit puberty at that point. And seeing the crowd reaction was amazing because I had never really seen an international show at that point. Like I really didn't watch like international sports like soccer, and even if you wanted to, like they weren't on TV in the 90s. They just weren't. Even ESPN was like, "Fuck you, dude. We got 8 stations. We're not putting it on any of them."
No.
So you had never really seen that international soccer hooligan style crowd that we get at live pay-per-views now all the time.
Yep.
So it was my first dose of that, and I was in awe. And then to see them explode the way they did for the late great British Bulldog, just as he was coming to the ring to fight his brother-in-law for the Intercontinental title was one thing. To see the way they completely topped that 100 times over after he won and stood in the corner on the ropes holding the Intercontinental Championship in front of everybody at Wembley Stadium is a moment that will be etched into my brain. Like somewhere behind HBK putting Marty Jannetty through that window, but it's up there. It's up there. So for that and for so much more, it's my number 4. Number 3 is one that I absolutely enjoy to this very day. Like I went back and I watched it because I was looking for a certain match, and then I just put on the card. I just put it on from the start because I was trying to get to a certain match, and it was an amazing show. SummerSlam 2014. I mean, this show started. I don't even know if it. I don't remember if it was kickoff or it made the air, but I got to watch it where I was viewing it on a certain place. Rob Van Dam actually fought Cesaro to kick off the show.
Oh yeah, he did.
That's when you know it's going to be That's when you know it's going to be a good show. I mean, and the list goes on. You go from that to AJ Lee and Paige, aka Sriracha now, Miz and Dolph Ziggler, Seth Rollins against Dean Ambrose. I mean, in a lumberjack
match.
And of course, you had the return to the ring of Stephanie McMahon to take on Brie Bella. And damn it, if she didn't make Brie her bitch that night, it was insane. It's like, oh, I can look, but I can't touch. Well, I'm certainly gonna fuck you up. And then top it all off, Roman Reigns. I mean, not Roman Reigns. Sorry, that's this year's SummerSlam. Brock Lesnar taking on John Cena
John Cena.
for the WWE World Heavyweight Championships. This is the 17 suplexes, folks. This is that match as you were watching Cena get tossed around like a fucking rag doll. You just wanted to look at Brock and
Stop! He's already dead.
I'd forgotten about that one. That shit was brutal to watch, man. Like all those fucking suplex after suplex after. I was like, Jesus.
and that's one of the reasons.
How exhausted is he?
And that's one of the reasons it's burned into my brain, because we all know John Cena. John Cena, the 16-time champion. John Cena, he's faced everyone. He's beaten everyone. He's
the Peacemaker.
Up till this point, especially the Peacemaker, right? Up to this point, especially, he's never been dominated. And then he walks into a ring with Brock Lesnar and gets mangled. Even him telling The Undertaker to do something went better. If you haven't seen it and you've seen that, trust and believe me, okay? Him asking The Undertaker to do something ended in a couple minutes, not Brock. Brock was like, nope, I ain't done with you. You're still breathing. Wow. So for that lasting mark again in my head, if you notice, all of these so far have left something burned into my brain, even if it was my mother beating on a biker. But something just stuck in my psychotic brain by the end of the night, and Cena getting mauled definitely going to stay with me forever. Now, another maybe whole ass pay-per-view that is going to stick in my brain forever would be, where did it go now? Where did it go? We got stuff. Yeah, here it is. SummerSlam 2000, y'all. I mean, do I have to? TLC match?
Who was in that TLC match?
Who was in that TLC match, you ask?
Remind me. It's been a hot minute.
It was.
Also, it was. What year did you say? 2002. Oh, 2020.
2000. Yeah, 2000. 0-0.
I don't even remember this one.
I mean, we even had an internet. Before we had the intergender tag match, where Eddie Guerrero and Chyna beat Trish and Val Venus in what turned out to be a much better match than I thought it would be. And this was Edge and Christian, Hardy's, Dudley's, TLC for the WWF Tag Team Championships.
That.
And
the TLC.
Yeah. And then we get Kane versus The Undertaker in a no disqualification match, even though it ended in a no contest. That was kind of meh. Main evented by a triple threat between The Rock, The Game, and Kurt Angle. It is a tremendous card from top to bottom. But that TLC match burned a hole in the Sycho's brain, and I will never get it out. So therefore, it's my number 2. But my number 1 might be even better. And that is SummerSlam 2002. If you look on the screen, you will see the highlights of a stacked card, including Eddie Guerrero versus Edge, Rey Mysterio versus Kurt Angle, RVD versus Chris Benoit, which was a great match regardless of what he ended up doing. Ric Flair versus Y2J. Brock Lesnar versus The Rock for the WWE Undisputed title. But the reason I put this at number 1, well, it was twofold. There's personal and then there's wrestling. For wrestling, this was HBK's comeback. The non-sanctioned fight between him and Triple H. He had not been in the ring in a good 3-4 plus years. and they had the whole story where Triple H swerved him and he didn't know and he found out and he was gunning for him. And this is where it all went down. And then he got back in the ring and it was like HBK never left. He was wearing a t-shirt and jeans and he did everything. There was even one point he had Triple H on a table and he's just standing on the top rope and he's looking down at him and he gives you the whole crazy emotion and then just dives off with an elbow drop. You haven't done this in years, bro. You're just deep ending that shit.
You know what? I'm going to have to go back and rewatch all of these because it's been a hot ass minute since I've watched an old SummerSlam. And honestly, SummerSlam wasn't always my big one. I was always more into Royal Rumbles. Like, you get me talking about Royal Rumbles, that's a whole other story. SummerSlam.
I'm usually a Rumble, WrestleMania kind of guy, but when Brian asked this question, I just started thinking back on matches that burned a hole in my brain. And then I went and watched them. And I was like, damn, these are good shows.
I need to go back and watch some of these, man, because the ones I most vividly remember, it's not even that vividly. I also had to like go back and look at the cards and like quickly catch clips of these because my brain just not there. It's just not there anymore, man. And I didn't even do drugs.
Well, because your grandma, that's why. But yeah, I mean, the card had a bunch of other matches on it. I mean, Spike took on Stevie Richards. You had the Un-Americans against Booker T and Goldust, which was a damn good match in itself. There was a lot on the card, but these matches in particular were amazing. And HBK and Triple H stood out above all of them. HBK stood out above everyone with his epic comeback. That's the wrestling part. The personal part, this is the first SummerSlam I ever watched with my later to be wife, and it was the first HBK match she ever saw.
Really?
And she even asked me going into the match, she's like, I've heard of him. I've never seen a Shawn Michaels match. Is he good? I was like, is he good? Bitch, you about to learn right now. Look at the screen. Don't take your eyes off that goddamn screen. And by the end of it, I was like, well, is he good? She's like, oh my God, he's phenomenal. Like, was he better than that? I said, yes.
Yes. Oh
and
my
she
God.
actually went out and bought one of those Shawn Michaels WWE compilation DVDs to catch all of his old matches after that fact. And then later we would get together and get married and all those. But then we just knew each other, and I was watching and she was there. So she came and she asked, bitch, watch.
Wait,
this
and
man,
learn.
I don't know if he's the GOAT, but if he's not, he's damn close. Watch. You'll thank me later.
In my book, he's definitely one of the greats. And it's not just because, to me, he's a hometown boy, but he genuinely is one of the greats, you know?
Oh, absolutely. One of the greats of all time. And so I had to put that number one for not just the card, but that match. And then those reasons the other way around. Like, you know, I think the year before my wife and I had sat down and watched I think she says it's SmackDown. I say it's Raw together, and we joked and we laughed. And then that's kind of where we realized we had a lot in common. And then she came over and watched SummerSlam with her brother and me, and things kind of, you know, then she started asking me about HBK. And then when she got into him, I was like, okay, you got potential. And eventually that would lead to where we are today, which coming up rather quickly will be 15 years of marriage.
Holy cow, congratulations.
On Tuesday. So it's been a wild ride, sweetie. I can't believe you took it with me, of all people. Like, for those of you that have been watching us for 4 years, you know me, okay? Can you believe she put up with me? Nobody does. I don't even have to.
Bless her, she's a saint, man.
Exactly. I was going to say, I don't even have to ask that question because anybody that hears that says exactly what Grandma just did. Like, that woman is a saint for being with you this long.
She's a fucking saint, man.
Like, how the hell? I don't know.
Grace of God, brother. Grace of God.
I'm not the luckiest man in the world when it comes to just real deal life, but when it comes to wives, I don't know how I lucked the fuck out, but I did. Thank you, Kathy. I love you dearly. Now that I've gotten all of that out of the way, and I feel like I've talked too much, I'm going to give the floor back to Grandma Wendy so she can give us her top 4, because she's Grandma, main
Because that's who I
events
am.
of SummerSlam. Her fave 4 of SummerSlam main events. Please.
I don't know if I would go so much as to say fave, but they are ones that I kind of remember, you know?
Kind of, sort of remember.
Kind of, sort of, you know? We already went over Bret Hart Bulldog. That was honestly, Bret Hart always put on clinics. Like he was just, you know, granted he came from the Heart Dungeon, and if you come from the Heart Dungeon, well, you come with a skill or two, you know. But
Yeah.
it was that skill set against Bulldog's sheer strength, and it was impressive. 93 Yoko versus Lex. I remember being 7 and being incredibly amazed at the size of Yokozuna. And for him to be going up against Lex Luger, and at the time, Lex Luger was presented as like one of the strongest men in the world. You remember, like all muscle, just Jack Diesel, and it was the U.S. versus Japan, even though he wasn't really Japanese, but that was what we went with. It was freaking. And when he picked him up and slammed him, 94, because I was 8, and it blew my mind that we had Taker versus Taker. What?
Oh yeah, holy shit! It was like, wasn't it like Duke the Dumpster Drozy or something that dressed up as Taker? I remember that. I was like, really, we're doing this? Okay.
I was like, oh my god, where did they bring out a second Taker? Like, how did they do this? Because I was 8 years old at the time, so I was like, what magic is this? Like,
how did this even happen? Right? Like, it wasn't this back in the day where like OG Taker was wearing the mask because he had broken his nose, so he had like the weird gray mask on.
I think so. I don't remember too well, but I think so. I'll have to look it up again because I don't remember.
If you can remember, leave it in the comments below.
But I remember being 8 years old, and you know, this was 94. There wasn't any internet. There was no way to like communicate with others about it. And I was like, what the fuck dark magic is this? Like, what? How do we have 2 Takers? Make it make sense. And then the last one that I most remember well, and I'm surprised that I remember because, you know, it's recent memory, last year's SummerSlam, Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar with the tractor. It was the tractor. The tractor is what did it for me. I freaking died. And I'm not even a fan. I'm not a fan of Reigns, not a fan of Lesnar, but that match was damn good. Does this mean I acknowledge him? No. Because everyone knows our one true tribal chief is Sami Zayn.
Sami Zayn. Right.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
There's nobody here to say Jey Uso, so we're okay.
Sami Zayn.
That whole match last year between Roman and Brock, between the tractor, Paul Heyman going through a table, Austin Theory coming out getting wrecked, the Usos flying, like it was just chaos and mass hysteria.
It was insane. There was much wailing and gnashing of the teeth. It was mind blowing. That
was everything that ECW could have been had they blown up.
Yes.
And I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I almost put that SummerSlam on my top 5, but I thought, I don't want to be that guy. You know,
I'll be that guy. I don't give a shit.
My favorite SummerSlams of all time. Well, there's last year. Like, that's a groaner moment. I understand the main event. The main event, fine. Cool. That shit was crazy. I don't care what year it came from. And Brock is like Mr. SummerSlam anyway. I don't even like him, but he is Mr. fucking SummerSlam.
He's definitely taken on that mantra or that mantle.
Which ironically, he's going to be back at SummerSlam this year, isn't that?
It's funny as you say that.
You can't have a SummerSlam without Brock Lesnar. Now I know you got to see Low Class and I do predictions for SummerSlam. You didn't get to see Grandma's because she had a power outage shortly before we went live. And we were bummed about that. Nick and I both were just like, oh man, we need Grandma.
Last week, if you're up here in Nova, you know last week's storms were wild, man. Shut down the whole ass highway for like 2 days. What the hell? Crazy.
Yep, a few days later it came and pounded us and we lost our power. So I get it. But I figured to make up for that, because I'm sure that it wasn't just Nick and I who wanted to hear Grandma's predictions. I'm sure a lot of you out there watching probably want to as well. So we're going to finish the show off letting Grandma go through this and give you her picks for every match on the SummerSlam card. And we're going to start out with something that probably makes us both nauseous. Ricochet taking on Logan Paul. Who you got, Grandma?
Oh, God, I hope Ricochet wins it. Honestly, I don't even want to go into this conversation. I just hope it's Ricochet.
No, that's fine. I'm sure Nick and I went into it in detail and debated, by the way, on last week's episode, which you can go back and watch right here on the Bloodline Entertainment Network. Don't forget to hit that like button, and you better subscribe. Anyway.
I'm pulling for Ricochet. I'm pulling for Ricochet.
I am too.
I mean, you know, as much as people want to be like, Logan Paul is talented, Logan Paul is trash, and I'm never going to hope for anything for him. He can go suck the shit off the bottom of a fucking porta potty.
You know what? I think the best way to describe Logan Paul would be talented trash. Because he is a good in-ring competitor, but he is a scumbag of a human being. So he's talented trash. And I picked Ricochet too. I'm with you. And
but
I'm not even going to...
At the end of the day, trash is trash.
Exactly. You can be talented trash, you're still trash. And I'm not even going to ask you about the Slim Jim Battle Royal because they haven't even filled it out. But what I will say is, at some point, this is all rumors and innuendos, there had been talk of having Trish versus Becky at SummerSlam. That was pulled. Asuka's still having her match, but then Rhea was apparently left off the card. And
which makes no sense. How are you going to leave the title off the card?
But even she said that upset the living hell out of her.
Yeah.
So, again, if you remember the AEW talk where I said I bashed the women's division a lot, but I have to give them credit here. This is a little bit of the opposite side of the coin where I tend to praise what WWE does with the bulk of their women more than I bash, but this is fucking ridiculous.
I can't get with this.
As Wendy said, how can you leave a women's champion or two Hall of Famers, basically, because we all know Becky's going to the Hall of Fame, Trish is in it, off of this card to put on a cash grab random battle royal that will lead to absolutely fucking nothing. Like the last time it happened, Andre the Giant Battle Royal at WrestleMania. Well, SmackDown before WrestleMania. And Bobby Lashley won it. What has Bobby Lashley done since?
Like, what's the point of these battle royals? Like, why are we even doing them? You build up what? Better yet, what is the point of building up stories like you did Becky and Trish just to drop them?
Mm-hmm.
Make it make sense, y'all. Make it make sense.
Exactly. I don't get it. And the only thing I can say, the point of this is the same point of having that. What was it? Mountain Dew pitch black match between Bray and LA Knight. We can make some money. We can put their fucking logo all over the place. We can change the lights and we can make some extra money because we all know WWE struggling for money.
From a business standpoint, I get these sponsored matches. From a fan standpoint, oftentimes they're baseless.
Well said. Well said. I had to get that out there because that part was not a thing last week. And
exactly. That's how we feel about it.
I thought we should address it. And again, they got a gimmick match. Guess who's in it? LA Knight. This is what you got for the guy.
Is he going to become the king of gimmick matches now? This is disappointing.
I don't know. All I know is this is a guy who has 4 of your top 5 selling T-shirts, and you've got him in a gimmick match at SummerSlam. And you're leaving Rhea off the card. You're leaving Trish and Becky, and you're putting this man in this. I'm done. I just don't understand. If you understand it, please, comments below. I got nothing.
Nobody gets it. Nobody gets it.
We're going to move on to a match that might actually mean something. At least it might especially mean something to Grandma. There is going to be, and this is new from last week too, an MMA rules match between Ronda Rousey and your wafu Shayna Baszler. Grandma, who you got?
I feel like it's almost obvious that Baszler's going to win it. There's talk of Rousey leaving and going back to MMA, so I can see Baszler winning it and that having be her exit, having that be Rousey's exit, basically.
Okay. Yeah, you know what? We share a brain on this one too. I know Nick had argued, it looks like Shayna's going to win. We want her to win, and that's probably why Ronda's going to win. I don't see it that way.
No.
I don't think Ronda's really been fully invested in this comeback. And now she sees the opportunity to go back to UFC, and Dana White seeing dollar signs, and her old division is a little empty. So it seems like this is Ronda's way of kind of giving Shayna that rub on her way out the door. So until I'm proven otherwise, I'm going to take Shayna. Yeah. Let's see. I think every other match, because we had 7 last week. We got 8 matches this week, so it's more of a takeover Detroit than it is a SummerSlam, which I appreciate. But I think we're down to just title matches from here on out. And so I guess we'll start with what is going to be 2 big technical ass men slapping man meat. And that is the Intercontinental Championship match where Gunther defends against Drew. Grandma, who you got?
I don't think Gunther's ready to drop it yet. I don't want him to.
Right.
But I also don't want to see Drew lose. I will say this. I don't see Gunther dropping it if they somehow manage to make it so that neither comes out looking weak, and Gunther still retains. That would be awesome, but I don't see Gunther losing either.
Yeah.
So it's either Gunther wins or some sort of scenario where it's a draw. By
this point, when we get to SummerSlam, Gunther will be Intercontinental Champion for roughly 420 some odd days. He'll be a few weeks behind the Honky Tonk Man for longest reign ever.
Oh yeah.
And don't get me wrong, I love the Honky Tonk Man. He was on a few of those cards that I was talking about earlier.
He was.
Great guy, great competitor, amazing fucking gimmick. The man didn't know how to play a guitar worth a lick, but he made you believe.
No, of course not.
And as great as he was, this is now a 40-some-year-old record, 30 or 40. Let Gunther break it. For that alone, I want him to beat Drew.
Yeah, just let him keep going with it.
And Drew literally just came back like a month ago. He's barely even been in a match. They've put together a tremendous build for this, where Drew is powerbombing Gunther through tables, and everybody's and Imperium's getting Claymored out of nowhere. Like it's been great, and I think it'll be a great way for Drew to get back in the ring with somebody that he's comfortable with and have a tremendous match. Like this could be match of the night. I'm gonna put it out there.
Yeah,
this could be the match that gets burned into my brain that makes me change my top 5 later on. But I still think Gunther's going to win. I still do. Yeah. And I want him to. I want him to break Honky Tonk's record. The guy deserves it. He brought the Intercontinental title back from mediocrity. And even that's being nice. So
but he's definitely elevated the title back to something fantastic, like back to the level of Mr. Perfect.
Yeah, back to the point where, like, I think I said it last week, it feels like the best worker in the company is holding that belt like it was in WWE's heyday.
Yes.
And so for me, he's earned the right to jump Honky Tonk Man for that alone.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we have the triple threat for the WWE Women's Championship. Asuka will be defending against the women that were clam blocking EO all month long. Charlotte Flair and Bianca Belair. Grandma, I'll ask again. Who you got?
Io Sky. I see EO cashing in and taking it.
Oh, you're with me now.
I'm with you on
Yes!
that one.
Yes, I said the same thing, Friday. I feel like this is the perfect opportunity for EO to cash in some way, shape, or form. Even if it's a Seth Rollins heist of the century kind of cash in, where mid-match she just runs out while everybody's down. She throws the briefcase at the ref, hits a moonsault on somebody, 1, 2, 3, runs out with the title, and boom, off
Not
and
just
run.
anybody. Not just anybody. It has to be Asuka.
Okay.
It
Well, see,
ha-
I wouldn't mind if it was anybody, just because, obviously we got SummerSlam now. Then we got Survivor Series.
for storyline reasons, it has to be Asuka. Because there's that built-in regional rivalry. They've had already enough interactions in Japanese to make it cemented and legitimate. It is 1,000% EO pinning Asuka. It has to be that way.
But I
And
feel like
then
regardless,
Asuka has to go back and say, "Give me my shit back." And they have to build this rivalry up further. Give EO a good long run, but give them a good long rivalry as well. It has to happen this way.
oh no, that would be good. Even if, for me, even if she doesn't pin Asuka, I feel like those two could carry a story in the midst of the in between pay-per-views that would make you want to tune in. Because like I said, you got SummerSlam, and then the next big thing really is Survivor Series, whether it's War Games or not. But in the middle, I don't even know what the fuck we have. I just know we have a couple of pay-per-views because there's going to be one every month.
Yeah. There's always something.
Like I think Extreme Rules is in September. So it's like, maybe they get together and have a match at Extreme Rules under said Extreme Rules and, go from there. Like maybe they trade titles back and forth and then they have another match at Survivor Series, kind of John Cena and Edge style. That would be fun.
Okay. That would be interesting.
Either way, I feel like this is the moment that EO could take advantage of and cash in and become champion.
Oh, yeah.
And moving right on to another championship match, we have a rematch that I'll be honest, I wasn't really into in the first place. And then when I started watching like the build to SummerSlam and the intensity between the two, I was like, okay, we're cool. I'm in. Seth Rollins is once again defending his WWE World Heavyweight Championship against Finn Balor. Grandma, who you got?
There is so much history in this one though that I'm not even mad at it. I'm not even mad at it. Like I legitimately want this, and I want it to be incredible. But I also, as much as I want Finn Balor to have his moment, I want Seth Rollins to retain. So I'm gonna say Seth Rollins.
Okay. Yeah, I was torn too because this 7-year itch of Finn's has brought something out of him that I haven't seen in at least a long time, or I may have never saw, which coming from Finn Balor is saying something. And Seth Rollins, we all know he's at the top of his game. And the way he played along with this story, the way he helped build it was just mwah. And I'm not sure that I want it to end. So I'm kind of leaning towards Finn, but then I took Seth anyway because I thought it's not time. He's been champ for 3 months. It's too soon. Unless Damian Priest is going to cash in, it's too soon.
Yeah.
Like, unless Seth retains, but Finn fucks him up and then Damian comes out, I could understand him losing that way. But I can't see him just losing to Finn Balor right now. Not after 3 months. He waited years.
Damn good, though.
He waited years. Damn good match. This man waited years to get back to the mountaintop, so to speak. I know it's the World Heavyweight Championship, not the other one, but it's still the mountaintop for Raw, and he's on it. And 3 months feels like a little too soon. But somebody that wouldn't feel a little too soon is in our next match. The WWE Undisputed Universal Championship. That's still a fucking mouthful, folks. I can't get used to it.
It's a long ass Why?
Roman Reigns defending the title against Jey Uso in Tribal Combat. Grandma, who you got? Woo!
Seeing all the memes about tribal combat that have come out make me
Right.
so glad other people think the same way I do sometimes. Because every time they say tribal combat, that's literally all that plays in my head. Tribal combat. Dun, dun. I'm like, it has begun.
Finish him.
As much as I want Jay winning, I don't see him winning. I see Roman winning it, and I hate myself for saying that.
Yeah. See, you and I again, because you've been here with me, and we've been listening to it since before Elimination Chamber. We acknowledge Sammy as the tribal chief.
Yes.
Bruce does not. He
No.
acknowledges Jey Uso, and he
Yes.
has said on multiple occasions, any chance he gets, really, that Jey Uso will be the one to end the reign of the tribal chief. First of all, I don't see it. And second of all, I think Grandma would agree with me. If it were to happen, neither one of us is ever going to hear the fucking end of it.
No, Jesus Christ.
If you thought that I was bad when MJF joined the Inner Circle, wait and see if Jay beats Roman and watch Bruce. That's all. He's not here. I don't know if he'll watch this, but if it happens,
It's
wait and
gonna
see.
be, yeah.
It's going to be a doozy, and I don't know if between the MJF stuff and that, I don't know if I could do it. There might be some days I rage quit this show midstream. Just bye, y'all. and I'll blame it on my internet, but it won't be my internet, folks.
No.
Uh,
We're telling you now, it won't be the internet.
So for all that, and for the fact that I still want Cody to be the one to take it, I don't care how, I'm begrudgingly picking Roman Reigns.
Did we skip a match?
I don't think so. We got.
I think so.
We didn't talk about the Battle Royal much.
Did we talk about Cody and Brock? Now that you mentioned Cody?
Oh shit! Yes, that's the one I glossed over because I said Brock was going to be at the SummerSlam, and then I was going to go right into it, and then I skipped it. So yes, Grandma, thank you for reminding me because I'm exhausted and it's been a long week.
It's a good thing I wrote it down.
Maybe I'm just an asshole and I was saving the real main event for last. You'll never know.
Cody's been going through his version of hard times with ups and downs. And no, it's been ups and downs. It's been his hard times. Hasn't been exactly like his father's, who had a year of losses. But it's been Cody's roller coaster. Because much like a roller coaster, you got your highs, you got your lows, and you got some loop-de-loops in there. And he's been thrown for a few loop-de-loops by Brock. I want Cody to have a high on this one. I'm going to give it to the coaster.
Sweet. I was going to say, I was about to Google you in the middle of that. Did you mean roller coaster?
I hate you.
Yeah, I know. Everybody does it, yet they keep coming back. But no, I take my fandom out of it. Take the fact that Dusty's hard times weren't even in WWE, and now we're doing it with Cody. Dusty's polka dots were hard times in WWE. That's Stardust. Get over it. But that's old news. The thing about this particular rivalry is they went in to fight one another clean in match one. Cody not only beat Brock, he bloodied him.
He did.
Which is not something a lot of people do to Brock Lesnar.
And Brock is a quick bleeder, isn't he?
Not really.
You fart a little too hard close to him or Mox, and they're just...
But it's not an easy thing to do. And then after that, Brock had to continuously jump him from behind while wearing a hoodie and break his arm to get a close win against Cody in Saudi Arabia. And now he's disrespected the man's mama.
Yes, he has.
Did you see the look on Cody's face when he started talking about what Brock did in front of his mama? You heard me bring my mom up in this episode. If somebody did something to me in front of my mama, How do you think that'll make me feel? That's Cody Rhodes, okay?
Mm-hmm. I'd be
So
hella pissed too.
he had reasons to be mad at you and want to whoop your ass at SummerSlam.
Mm-hmm.
And now you just gave him more reasons.
Yep.
So yeah,
You went there. You went there when you shouldn't have.
you fucked around, and at SummerSlam, you're gonna find out. It's that simple. And I think that's a good place to end this one, y'all. We got nothing left.
Nah.
We've given you everything we got. We hope you've enjoyed this.
We didn't have a whole lot left in the tank, but we put it out there.
No, what we had, we left it for you, y'all. We left it for you.
It's out there.
It's been a grind of a week.
It really has.
More of a grind of a week than usual. We're down a man, but we're here because we love you. And we love this.
Yep.
And goddamn, do we love to see you follow us on social media. So please, if you're watching this and you haven't, again, search for us on search for us on Facebook, Top Rope Wrestling Talk. Invite yourself to our public group, or search for the Bloodline Entertainment Network. Like the page, you will get all the updates and clips and everything for us and the vast, forever growing family of Bloodline podcasters. You can also find us at Top Rope WT on Twitter, or, as I said before, you can find us on the Bloodline's absolutely best Instagram handle ever.
Yep.
The Champ's Instagram handle. The Family Feud Champions Instagram handle. Hashtag Team Sycho. I love you all. JD, Courtney, Graydon, you're my people. But the handle itself, again, is at top _rope _wrestling _talk.
It's a mouthful, y'all. I ain't gonna lie.
All of that is, and I'm glad I got it out without screwing up too badly.
You did good, Psycho.
Because the bags under my eyes have bags, so I'm just gonna, from here, we're just gonna say,
oh, Wendy!
it's
ironically enough,
under my eyes have bags. Yeah.
Ironically enough, I'm watching Twisted Metal, so
that is pretty ironic, actually.
Mm-hmm.
So please,
hey, Joe,
please let the people know where they can find our back catalog.
You can find our back catalog on anchor.fm/TRWT, or on the YouTubes at a Foxden Jown or TRWT. Shit, I'm tired. TRWT or Foxden Jown. On the YouTubes, you can find all of our old videos, and you can find some of the new meatheads when and if it comes out. On anchor.fm/TRWT, you can find all of our old audio episodes wherever podcasts are freely distributed: Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all the places.
Nice.
Yep. We did it. We got through it.
And of course, as you know, we have merch, and you can find the link for that in the description of this episode, along with many others. But we encourage you always, since we are the very first ever network exclusive show, to come find us, come follow us, and all of our brethren at the Bloodline Entertainment Network. And you can go to Instagram, Twitter, the TikTok, Facebook. You can even come and search YouTube at the Bloodline ENT, and you will find us. You can follow us. You can like our videos. You can subscribe to us. You can catch our merch, our exclusive articles, which are top notch.
All of it.
Our replays of our video podcasts. You can get about us stuff. Everything at our target size website, which is thebloodlinenetwork.com. Go there, check everything out while you're there, or if you wish, go to thebloodlinenetwork.com /merch to see all of the latest merchandise from the Bloodline Network. Everything from shirts, hoodies, onesies, kids'
Everything.
tees, women's stuff, you name it, we got it at the Bloodline Entertainment or the bloodlinenetwork.com/merch. I think that's all the promoting we have. You will find the link to our Spreaker in the description below.
Yep.
You can go find us wherever your favorite podcast platform is, because we're on it. Make sure to follow us there, to rate us, review us. If it's good, I don't even care about if it's about us. I'll put it up here on screen and we'll talk about it, y'all. We'll give everybody their kudos right here on the Bloodline Entertainment Network. But until next week, folks, when hopefully High Class will be back and hopefully SummerSlam will rock, enjoy wrestling. If it's not your cup of tea, let somebody else drink it. And above all things, Grandma,
stay fresh, cheese bags.
There it was. And in the immortal words of High Class, deuces, bitches.
Bye.
Think about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward.